It,
Brian, your shot is amazing, by the way. That is a really awesome shot.
did you hire the person to come in and do the lighting?
You know what I did? I uploaded pictures of my like screenshots to ChatGPT
Yeah.
and said, "What should I do?" And
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
telling me about hair lights and
45
flow
up,
lights and all that. I'm like, dude,
one
I
over
don't have hair.
top.
It's
Yeah.
like, well, you still need a hair light.
Yes, you do. It creates like definition behind you,
So
right?
I have
Of
a
what?
light behind me shining at an angle at the wall.
Yeah.
I have a hair light above me, and then I have a fill light over here and a much lighter fill light over here so that it creates a little bit of a shadow on the face.
See? I love it. It looks
The
fantastic.
one that's coming
Thank
like
you.
straight down from the top, you gotta slide it over slightly.
Hey,
Just
you don't even have to do that. Look,
the
look.
hair.
The one that's right here, the one that's right here has a grid on it. You just need a grid.
No, grid it. That's a good idea.
Yeah, just put
Okay.
a grid on. You'll be good to go.
It's got a grid on it.
I'm still a little washed out right
No,
now.
mine does not. I'll get one.
Yeah. Well, I can tell because it puts a spot. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Let's see here. Public chat. All right,
Oh
then.
yeah, we gotta have the chat up, don't we?
Yeah, if we want to answer any questions. So, yeah, absolutely.
Send me
Brian,
a DM to get into Mars for free. Who said
Oh.
that?
was it you?
I didn't put that there.
You must. Are they doing Mars again? When are they doing Mars?
Yeah. Mars is in October, I believe.
Oh, very nice.
If you go to automotivetrainingevents.com,
Oh,
you can find all of that.
oh, automotivetrainingevents.com. Hey, I'm just going to tell you the first comment is I'm as cynical as David. That means this is going to be an awesome.
Hey, I don't know how you work in a custom audio shop, a custom like just customization shop, where you do performance and stuff like that. Those people are so unrealistic. It's bad enough that last night I get this random text message from
Yeah.
Rando McGee. I don't know why she's not calling the shop. She's not. She's text messaging me now. I've got my text line on the voicemail thing. So whatever. Whatever. Doesn't matter. And you know what? My Google my business messaging goes through that text message through. Maybe that's what she's doing.
Right,
I don't know.
right.
Anyway, she's like, "Hey, I'm going to drop off my vehicle," and I'm like, "That's it." Like, I'm not even replying. It's just emojis, and then she puts on there last night. Hey, I didn't see an envelope. I dropped my keys off. My car is misfiring. It's shaking and almost dying at a stop. Oh, I need my vehicle back same day.
Oh, my goodness.
Now,
Uh,
here's I don't understand. I am not a miracle worker here. First off, I'm not working on the car, so whatever, right? And all I did was forward the message to my shop manager and said good luck. And so,
Poor Juan.
and then this morning I took a nap. So that's how my day's gone. I'm just saying, like, where do these people get these expectations? Like, where?
It's rough. It's rough. And maybe that's some of what we talk about today is making sure, because one of the first questions that I had, Brian, and for everybody that doesn't know, Brian Walker, Shop Marketing Pros, like I don't know that I need to introduce you. And I was just telling everybody in my live stream that I did before the live stream about the live stream. It was like, the reason that Brian and Kim are so effective and the reason that everybody's talking about Shop Marketing Pros is because y'all owned an auto repair shop. And I'm going to tell you, as a client, something that's really important to me is the fact that it's not like I'm just talking to somebody who doesn't understand where I've been, right? Yeah. I mean, like, I get that you understanding the business is important for the marketing side, right? I get that. I know that that's important. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying the fact that I can message you and be like, dude, the shop's empty. And you know what that feels like. Makes me feel a lot better.
You mean he didn't just roll out of marketing school last week and decided to open up a marketing company and then decided to
No, see, what happens is most
post
shop
all
owners
over
fail
my
as shop
freaking
owners
Facebook
and then
group?
go into marketing. He didn't do that.
Decides to post on my Facebook group like, oh, I do my marketing. It's like, hold on.
Somebody
you
wants to know if
posting
this is
my
actually
Facebook group?
live. Okay, so Brian, here's my question. Here's number one question. There's a lot of folks come
Hey,
into the groups.
it's not really live until we see some nipple. So let's go, Lucas.
This is going to hell quickly.
David woke up and said, I'm going to try and make Brian and Lucas blush this morning. I got my nap in. I'm good.
Hey, you don't have to make it dirty. You could have just posted up a freaking cow udder or something like that. You're the one that just went straight to something sexual. This is just inappropriate, Lucas. Inappropriate. You could have just thrown some cow udder up there. And it would have been
so. Brian, number one question is: all of these people come into the groups and they say, "I have been so busy, so absolutely covered up. I don't need to do marketing. I've never marketed my shop. I've never done any of that."
Yeah.
And I worry, right? Because the first thing is that my market is not your market, is not David's market, right? Everybody's a little bit different and they experience different things. I had a very similar belief system very early on. I had 3 bays, and guess what? We were producing 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, we're busy. No, we're inefficient is what we are. Tell us, why should someone be investing in marketing? I've got my own opinion. Why do you think someone should be investing in marketing if they're in that situation? Should they? Should they not?
Well, first, and I'm the worst salesman in the world, okay? Because the truth of the matter is there are some anomalies out there that they don't need to market. They are that busy all the time. They're in an area where they don't have a lot of competition. They're very good at what they do. A lot of times I do find that they're a little light on their pricing. And because of that, they have constantly got a backlog of work. And, good for them. It's, if you can run a business like that, you can be profitable. You can take care of your team. You're not underpaying them or anything like that. And you literally do not have to do any marketing ever because your shop is always busy, then great. But I do find that most of the people who say that, or the ones who are like, oh, word of mouth is all that I need.
Yeah.
They're not really, that's not really them. And because you'll see them say that, and then it won't be 2 months later, they're asking about, hey, is anyone else slow right now? And, just because you're busy right now and you have a backlog right now, it doesn't mean that you're going to stay that way all the time. And then you have that shop where they're kind of the only people in town that are worth coming to. And all of a sudden they have a competitor.
Yeah.
And now they and that competitor are starting their marketing at the same exact time because they're like, oh crap, I need to start marketing now. I've got a worthy competitor. Now they're starting at the same time when they could have had a 2, 3, 5 year advantage on that person, where the new person who comes into town, they can't overtake them because that marketing is already so rooted.
Yeah.
Marketing, having strong marketing is part of having a strong business. You can have a business that on paper it looks strong, but you do no marketing, you have a weakness there. You have a hole that's just waiting to be exploited. It's not a matter of if, it really is a matter of when.
For sure. Absolutely. And I think there's so much that they don't understand the difference between marketing and advertising sometimes, right? And I tell guys all the time, like, hey, I'm not saying you have to go out and spend a bunch of money. I'm saying that you can be making content and putting content out there. There's a local guy up here that does such a great job, man. He's just talking about the shop and talking about what they're doing. He's not trying to get out here and do all kinds of crazy, high-end advertising, stuff like that. It's just him with a camera talking about his shop, right? And people connect with that. People connect with other human beings. And I think that it's so easy for folks to miss that. And you say marketing, they're instantly thinking, I don't need to spend no money on that. Right. No, and word of mouth is marketing too, right? Treating your clients well can be considered marketing. I think they miss that concept a little bit.
Oh yeah, marketing is every impression that someone has of your business. It can be them standing at the counter talking to your service advisor and providing that great customer service. We refer to it as customer service, but that is marketing.
Yeah.
No one will ever convince me differently. And yes, there's a huge difference between marketing and advertising. Just because we're talking about marketing doesn't mean that you need to go spend thousands of dollars with Google. I mean, look, after what happened with us at the end of last year, I would love to never give Google another penny in my life. But
you ain't alone, buddy.
The fact is, when it comes to advertising, they are the best game in town for a small brick and mortar business. There is no better option than Google for getting vehicles into a shop fairly quickly. So, it's not realistic to do that. But y'all know me, I am big on grassroots type marketing. I love things like BNI, Chamber of Commerce, having events at your shop, and then the video, doing reels. Uh,
Yeah.
every time you have something interesting come in to do a video about it, and have bring your team into it, let people get to know, like, and trust them. It
Yeah.
it just doesn't get much better than that, and
And
I can't do that for my clients.
I think the first thing you need to be is proud of your business. You know who a great example of that is? Lucas is Chris Luoma of
Oh,
Jerry's
Yeah.
Automotive.
yeah.
That
Yes.
guy, like, he is into his business.
So
Mhm.
Chris
And
is
I
one of our clients, and he
really,
is
I had no idea. I was
yeah,
just throwing him out there.
no,
Yeah, he is legit, dude.
Chris is awesome. You talk about somebody that runs a fantastic business. I mean, just has a business mind, a customer service mind. Like, his clients are taken care of. I admire everything about that guy. He is awesome.
Well, and the biggest thing though, I think this is where it starts. Is like he's proud of his business. He wants to see it grow, and he's invested into. He's like he is into his business. And when you have someone that is genuinely into their business, and it's part of the family, and it's been in the family, and there's some pride there, that resonates through anything he does. So he gets on camera and starts talking about the business. That permeates through the
Yeah.
through the video, and it's genuine. And that then translates into, like, man, I really like this business. I would try, like, I would take my car there if I lived in the area. We have a question on Google my business profile and getting
The
it to
3-pack,
rank.
yeah.
Advertise, number one, is spend some money on some ads, and ARO is really easy. Just so we can throw this one out, and people don't ask it 1,000 times. Is the 300% rule will fix your ARO every
time.
single time. The 300% rule will
Yeah.
fix your ARO immediately, every single time, 100% of the time. It's super easy. Just do that. And if you do that, your ARO will all of a sudden, with zero salesmanship, I don't do any selling, your ARO will jump
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5 times. Also, make sure your pricing is correct too. Um, and then what should you not spend money on? I think you need to try spend money on absolutely everything and see what works in your particular market, though.
And then
But
follow the trend. Yeah.
yeah, but Brian, talk about, because late last year we switched our Google ads to this lead ad thing,
Yeah,
and
LSA.
only paying for like actual leads. And I then now before it was just like the click would hit, and then you would end up spending the money on the click or whatever, and then half the time the phone call would drop out, or like the person would hang up. We even had to turn off the virtual assistant to try to get the phone calls to get through more effectively. But now when the phone call comes through, I see the lead pop up in my Google email that this lead came in from your ad, and then Google's actually checking to see if that lead is even something that you're going to end up paying for, because it turned into an actual lead. Can you talk about those and what the biggest difference is, and because they have been, man, they have been awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So LSA, it's local service ads, and it's a Google product. It's a Google ad, but we don't really refer to it as Google ads because we refer to your traditional Google search ads as Google ads, and LSA as LSA. And LSA, it really started quite a few years ago in the home services industry. And it was created for businesses where you were hiring someone and they were sending someone out who was going to be coming into your home. And you wanted to have some kind of background check and everything on them. So Google would run background checks on all of the people who would be in a position where they might go into a client's home. They would run background checks on the business owner. They would make sure the business had all the insurance and licensing and everything that it needed. And at that time, it was called Google Guarantee Ads, and they actually had a financial guarantee on it also. So if Google had ads running for this, you clicked on that ad, you hired that person, they came in, they didn't do a good job, then Google would actually reimburse you up to a certain amount of money. And they last year they rolled this out to the automotive industry throughout the United States. Prior to that, they were testing it in California and Florida, just a little bit here and there. So when they rolled that out last year, that is the best thing that's happened in marketing in the automotive industry in, I would say, the last 10 years.
Wow.
And what it is instead of a pay-per-click model, it's a pay-per-lead model. And when we say pay-per-lead, if Google sends someone to your business, that could potentially be a client for your business. Doesn't mean that they actually do become a client for your business. Then you're going to pay them for that lead. If it was a bad lead, then you can challenge it. You have a dashboard where you can go in and mark that lead, anything from very satisfied to very dissatisfied. And when you mark something as very dissatisfied, you have a way to be able to put in there why. So it might be somebody calling for state inspection and you're telling them, well, we don't do state inspections. Or they're calling for tires and you're like, we don't do tires. Now, the important thing to know about LSA is great for general auto repair shops. It is not good for specialty shops because it's category driven, not keyword driven. So your traditional Google ads are keyword driven. We can say, we can show the ad when somebody is searching for BMW repair, Mercedes oil leak, power stroke, mechanic near me, those types of things. Whereas LSA, it's just the category of auto repair. So if somebody is searching for an auto repair related term and you're running LSA ads, then Google will show that to them. Now their AI does learn what's a good call for you and what's not. So if you are going in and you're telling them we don't do state inspections, and that's the big thing about LSA. Anybody can run LSA. They can do it for themselves. There's not a whole lot of optimization that we have to do when it comes to LSA. But what you have to do is you have to stay on top of giving feedback to Google on those phone calls. And that's what we do for our clients. We listen to those calls and we give feedback so that their AI can perfect the calls that are coming to you. A lot of times when people first start running LSA, they're like, oh, this is just a bunch of price shoppers, or, the lead quality sucks. And you probably experienced that too in the very beginning when we started running LSA for you, that the lead quality wasn't that great. But you give it 60 to 90 days and it just starts to click because our AI is learning through our feedback of what is a good call for you and what's not a good call for you. And they can determine that based on the search query that somebody's using. So, if you don't do state inspections and somebody goes to, they search for state inspection near me, they're not going to show your ads. They're going to show your competitor who does do state inspections.
But yeah, it was about 90 days. And then at the 90-day mark, all of a sudden, like we got hit with volume and quality.
Yeah.
But just the fact that I don't have to pay, and this was frustrating because I would get off the phone, or I would see my service manager get off the phone and he'd hang up and be like, man, these calls come in and I can't even, I'll get 3 words and then I just hear a click.
Yeah.
And I'd just shake my head and be like, yeah, I just spent whatever, $18 on that call.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was. It was just the phone rang for $18. We picked it up, $18 charge, boom, gone.
Yeah.
And you had no recourse there, where now it's like, even if the lead is more expensive, who the flip cares? It's like, yeah, like this turned into an actual appointment and we got the customer in the door. It just gives us an opportunity. It is 10 out of 10. Like, just, if you're not running these, I don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
How much should you be spending, by the way? Like I spent about $2,000, I think, to $2,500, something like that a month.
It's going to vary greatly on the area that you're in. If you're in a more a less densely populated area, we've got people that might only be able to spend $500 a month in budget, and then we have people that can spend $5,000 a month in budget on LSA. And the funny thing about LSA is when if you're running a good shop, you got people who are good on the phone, and you make it past the 90 days, because we have people that, despite us telling them the first 90 days is going to be a little bit rough, they won't last the 90 days. They'll get 45, 60 days in and they're like, yeah, just cut it off. We're done with this. It's not working. And it's like, but
even though you told them
past that initial period and you have people who are good on the phone, then you will dump as much money as you can into LSA, because it just feeds your shop. If you have the capacity in your shop, you will just keep feeding the machine so that it keeps feeding your machine.
Are you suggesting to drop Google ads for LSA? Are you saying run both? I mean, and I've learned from you this
they told me to
concept of
drop the one for the
multi-tiered
other.
marketing, right? Like we're looking at multiple different things and looking at a broader kind of tier steps of marketing that a business needs to do, from branding to know, like, and trust, right? Are you saying get rid of Google Ads altogether? I mean, how are you managing that?
That's another one that depends.
Okay.
If you are only going to run one and you are a general repair shop, I'm running LSA all day long. But there are still missed things that, like, LSA is not going to catch those, what we call a long tail key phrase that somebody might drop into Google. So, somebody who is looking for, Ram truck evaporator core replacement. LSA may not catch that. It may not display for that. But if you do a lot of that type of work in your shop, like Google search ads are the ones where we can really pinpoint, I want more of this type of work. And if there's enough search volume for it, then we can run those Google ads for that. And we have people who kill it on Google search ads. And we have people that's why I don't have any hair left from, ripping it out, because we just don't know why we can't get it to work. And there is no rhyme or reason for it. But the majority of the time, Google search ads, they at least do well enough that people are happy with the return on investment that they're getting. But then, specialty shops, diesel shops, Euro shops. Just
So we have a
regular
question
search ads
about
are very, very powerful for them.
Yeah. We have a question about paid ads versus organic. This is a common misconception. I think it's a misconception. People think it's like one or the other. It's like you can do both, but how much time and effort do you want to put into it? It is what it is. Because at the end of the day, I'd just rather pay the money and not dick with it than sit there and make freaking TikToks all day long to try to advertise my business. I don't want to do any of that. So can you talk about what does organic look like now in 2026? And what would be effective in 2026 if you've got a low budget, or you don't think, and for some cock-making reason in your mind you can't do paid ads? What does that look like?
I actually prefer organic search to paid ads. It's just that organic search is a long-term game, whereas paid ads, we can get your phone ringing pretty darn quickly. And organic search, what you're doing today in organic search is for 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road. But once you do that, it has a lasting impact. Whereas with paid ads, once that click happens, that money's gone. You'll never see it again. With organic search, the things that we do for organic search, you pay for it today, and it will produce for years and years and years to come. And now with this surge of AI and people switching to AI from the search engines, AI doesn't have pay-per-click yet. It's coming. OpenAI has already said they're putting paid ads into ChatGPT. But organically with AI, we're hearing from more and more clients all the time that people are telling us that they ChatGPT recommended them. And what we're doing with organic search, we've changed the nomenclature from search engine optimization to search everywhere optimization, because we're doing things that specifically AI LLMs really like, so that they are recommending our clients more often. But
I love that.
But I love SEO because if something happens where you get in a really tight place in financially in your business, the first thing that everybody wants to cut off is their marketing. And it doesn't make sense, when you really think about it, that's the first place that you would go to when you need more work. But if you've been doing SEO, it's going to continue to work. But if you cut off those Google ads, that phone's not ringing.
Yeah.
Not from Google ads.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. There is a question up there about getting the 3-pack, the organic 3-pack. How do you get higher in the 3-pack? Do you have any input on that?
That's seriously like a 4-hour class. But some of the most important things that we're going to look at for that are accuracy, like the accuracy of your Google business profile being set up completely, that the services that you do are listed there and they have good keyword rich descriptions for each one of them. And we're looking at citations. Citations are going to be all of those directory listings that are out there online that point back to your business. So yellowpages.com, Merchant Circle, all, especially the auto repair specific ones like bimmershops.org and such. So you want to have a lot of citations, and you want those citations to be accurate 100% across the board. So if you abbreviate street, you want street abbreviated everywhere in every citation. If you spell it out, you want to spell it out everywhere. If you put the LLC on the end of your name, you want it everywhere. If you don't want it anywhere. So citation accuracy is a big thing. Reviews come into play. You want to have a lot of reviews, and people, will get really frustrated on this one because they'll look and they're like, I got 1,000 reviews and my competitor over here has 50 and they're outranking me. It's just one piece of it. So you want reviews, you want keyword rich reviews. If you can get your clients to drop keywords, like to give a really good description of, I brought in my 2009 Ford Explorer and had a major service or had a brake job or whatever done on it. Like when they start adding those words in there, that helps tremendously with showing up in the 3-pack, especially when somebody is searching for something specifically that someone else mentioned in the reviews.
Yeah,
so
that's a really good idea.
Posting to your Google Business Profile is another one, and having some of those posts have links that go back to your website. We have, I probably shouldn't say this because I'm sure it's against Google's terms of service, but we have done things like run Facebook ads to a Google Business Profile to get traffic to it, because traffic to a Google Business Profile will increase the ranking. There's just so much, when it comes to getting that Google Business Profile in the 3-pack. And then when you're in an area that has 10 shops, well, that's one thing. You're in the middle of Houston, you got 1,000 shops, inside of a 10-mile radius. That's a lot harder to become, to get into the top 3. And really the top 3 spots are the only ones that matter.
Yeah.
But you can pay. There is an ad spot there to pay to be in those. But in a place like Houston, you're going to have a bunch of competitors that are paying for it anyway. So
right, going to be hard to get in there.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I have for you is I know that I've talked to you and Kim both about the number of shops that you've worked with who kind of had the same situation as what I saw with the family business when we came back into the family business. And I look back now and I realize I'd done the same thing at my shop. And so a lot of folks have heard me talk about it in the advertisement that we do. And it's me saying, hey, they had been throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick. And it was an ad over here, an ad over there. SEO was a mess. They were paying for this type of Google ad, but it wasn't configured properly. And it was them trying to do it themselves. Mm-hmm. And I really look back at that now and I say, oh my gosh, if I wasted so much money on Facebook ads and Google ads and all this other stuff, trying to do it myself, trying to learn how to do it. And I was never going to be proficient at it. How often do you see that? Is that something you see a lot?
Yeah, we see it pretty often. I still, I respect somebody trying to do it themselves rather than not doing it at all. But, what you need to do is kind of like the things that you're doing, make sure that you're able, like there are things that you're able to do. Yeah. So rather than going straight to Facebook ads, if you're going to do them yourself, just boost post, rather than running ads. Because how many times have you seen, well, I know you see it a lot because you'll tag usually Kim in it.
Yeah.
But you're sitting there at your home in North Carolina and you get
seeing them from Texas and California.
Yeah. And you're not going to bring your vehicle to Texas to have it repaired. And that's just a matter of somebody didn't set it up correctly. They are running an ad, but they didn't set up a geographic
and
area
that's money.
for it to run in. It is.
Yeah, and they don't realize how much they spend on that. They spend a fortune on that.
Yeah.
And the way Facebook presents that to you, they're like, hey, if you narrow this down to such a small area, you're only going to get in front of 5,000 people. But if you do this wider area, you'll get in front of 10 million people. It's like, well, yeah, but those 10 million people can't be my customers. Like, I need to be only in front of this tiny area. And so like Facebook makes it really hard to like nail it down and even know that you're in or in front of the correct audience.
Yeah.
What about some of these smaller like advertising opportunities? Because I get spammed constantly by like Nextdoor, Reddit,
Yelp.
some of those social media companies like that. Nextdoor in particular is like, hey, you get in front of your neighborhood, like. But I don't. First off, Nextdoor, these people are unhinged. They are out of their minds. Everybody on Nextdoor. I don't think I want anybody of these people to be my customers. I don't know. Well,
I'm
do you
not opposed.
do you see success with those? What's that?
I'm not opposed to them,
Mm.
but they're more about brand building. And in my mind, you don't do paid brand building like that until you have the basic foundations of marketing in place. Like I'm not going to go do a programmatic media campaign if I'm not running Google Ads or LSA or I'm not doing SEO. You know, but if I'm already doing, you know, I've got a great website. I'm doing SEO. I'm doing LSA. I'm doing Google search ads. Um, and I'm wanting to build my brand even more. Okay, now let's go do some programmatic and have some commercials that are running on Hulu and YouTube television and all of that. I believe highly in that kind of stuff, but not until the foundations are in place.
No. So let me ask you this, because David brings up something I think is really important here. He said, I don't think I want those customers, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things I've always talked about with Shop Marketing Pros is you guys can understand what marketing attracts who. And you have a better idea of how to curtail the marketing to make sure we're getting the right client in the door. And that was something that I struggled with when I was trying to do my own marketing. I really had a hard time with that because I was getting all these super cheap people. And it's kind of like Yelp. I mean, I was doing a little bit of advertising on Yelp, and I would see the lead come through, and I'm like, oh, no, not one of those, right?
Yeah,
Because
every lead on Yelp is like, I gotta go through the spiel, and you're like, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste.
Yeah.
For sure. And so is there a way in marketing that we can make sure we find the right client? Because I think that so many shops spend so much money just, you know, casting such a wide net. And the messaging alone doesn't even say, here's what we do and here's why we're different than everybody else and here's why we're special if you want this experience. And so that was something I learned from sitting in y'all's classes. Is when I started doing these radio ads, I started doing the other stuff, I'm saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead and explain what we do. Because if they don't want to buy what I sell, I don't need them in the shop. And so can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, there was a study that was done years ago, and they used three different groups of people. They used people who were, you know, they were poor, people who were like just middle class, and then people who were wealthy. And the study was done around dinner, and they would have the people invite someone else and like serve them dinner. And it was interesting that the poor people, the question that they would always ask is, did you get enough? And the middle class people, they would always ask, did everything taste okay? And then the upper class, or not upper, but the wealthy people would always ask, did everything look okay? And, you know, so you've got your poor people who they're focused on the amount. What am I going to get in exchange for, you know, what I give you? So that's, you know, that's what they're thinking when they come into your auto repair shop. What am I going to get in return for the money that I'm giving you? Whereas the middle class people, you know, they want to know what's the quality of what I'm going to get. Whereas the wealthy people, they're concerned about appearance and all of that. So if you are looking to get a higher class of customer into your shop, you're not going to get that by trying to, you know, talk about price. If you're trying to get a wealthy customer in, you're not going to even get that by talking about the quality of what you're doing. But you're also not going to get that person in if you've got broken down cars in your parking lot and if your waiting area isn't clean and all of that. So, you know, if you're wanting to get that wealthy client in, then you need to build a shop that looks great. It's perfectly clean. When they come to it, when they come to your shop and they tell their friend about it, they want the friend to be like, oh,
Yeah,
you got a
yeah,
you know, XYZ shop, because it's almost a status symbol for them. So
Right.
when you're marketing, you have to market knowing what the person is that you're trying to get in. So and there's a lot. That's just one piece of it. So you start with an ideal client profile and figure out, where does this person live? What's important to them? What kind of vehicle do they drive? And when you do the marketing, you want them to see themselves in the marketing. So, if you're doing a Facebook ad and this is someone who, like, your ideal client profile is minivan Mary, well, that image that you use should be of a minivan and probably a mom with kid in her arm or something like that, because when they look at that, they can see themselves in it. And over a period of time of doing that, you can actually shift your client base, because when they look at what you're doing online, and this isn't just paid advertising, this could be those TikToks and all that we're talking about doing. It could be the 60-second speech that you give at BNI, where you're talking about who your perfect client is. When you start hammering down on this is who our client is through visuals and the way that you talk and all of that, you can shift the entire base of clients that you have, because the ones who are not right are going to look at it and say, yeah, this isn't the shop for me.
This isn't for me, right? And I mean, it's like, people pull up to Ruth Chris and they're like, I can't afford that. I'm not going in there.
Yeah.
Right. And people pull up to McDonald's and say, I would not eat that.
Yeah.
And I think that really plays into what we're trying to accomplish with our businesses. And look, I don't.
Quick, did you see the video of the CEO of McDonald's trying his new burger? It's called the McArch. And apparently they ran a trial in Canada and in Ireland, and they decided to make this cringy video of this skinny guy, and he's like, I'm gonna eat this for lunch. He picks it up and he's like, I don't even know how to attack this thing. he takes a bite of it and he's like,
Brian, if you're ever wondering what happens in David's life on a daily basis, you've got a pretty good picture of it.
I'm just saying that that was bad marketing. You should not have done that, McDonald's. That was a bad move.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the hell they were thinking. We're gonna put our CEO out there, this guy that doesn't look like he goes to McDonald's at all, and then make him eat a McDonald's meal and make it look appetizing.
Do you remember the video of the BMW CEO in Germany coming out?
He couldn't start the car.
Couldn't get the car to start. He had to call an employee to show him how to start the car. Yeah.
But see, that didn't look that bad, because it was like, hey, this car's so bougie, you don't even know how to start it. That's how stupid.
You don't start it. You just sit in this car. Okay?
No. But think about it. Somebody, especially in America, maybe not in Europe because there are taxis in Europe, but here in America, they're like, oh, this is the epitome of engineering, and this thing is so ridiculously engineered, you can't even start it. The CEO doesn't even know how to freaking start it. You got to have a whole class on how to start this car, because it's so it's so ridiculously engineered. I don't know about
that may have played into their hand. Who knows?
Not the same thing as, hey, look at my delicious hamburger that looks like a pile of crap and I'm grossed out by eating it, but you should totally buy it. It's a smart move.
One of the best advertisements that I've ever seen was when BMW congratulated the CEO of Mercedes on retirement. And they show him retiring, leaving Mercedes, and he gets home, he opens the garage and takes off in his BMW. Look, as a Mercedes guy, it was a little bit painful, but that was just beautiful advertising.
I love that. That is next level. Yeah. Let's talk for a second about programmatic. Now, we've just adjusted mine, right? Because we backed off of the programmatic a little bit. We came out of the end of December, right? We had just been through the holidays. Holidays are always a little bit slow for us right then, because we're in a college town, and so a lot of kids go home for the holidays, that kind of thing. We come out of that and we have 3 or 4 big storms back to back. And one of them was extremely problematic. People could not get out of their homes, right? Mm-hmm. And people were taking heavy equipment, track hose and dozers, stuff like that, trying to get the ice to break up, and they couldn't even get it broken up. Yeah. And so it just ground us to a halt. And I called you and we started talking about what we could do, what we could shift, because I'm going to tell you, I think one of my biggest pet peeves, especially with shop owners, I was talking to a gentleman, Mr. Miller, this morning, and he said, I just want somebody to take this and I'm going to have them take over the marketing. And I'm like, hey, you will get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah.
How often's a photographer coming out? When's this stuff happening? When's stuff going on? You know, are you communicating with your marketing team? Shut up, Brian. Don't look at me. But like when you think about that, I think it's important to say marketing will give you what you put into it. But one of the things we shifted is we pulled back from programmatic a little bit. And I plan to re-engage programmatic here soon. Tell us about programmatic because it is I think it's kind of the wave of the future, probably more so even than LSA, but it's designed for something different. Tell us a little bit for those in the audience that don't know what programmatic is.
Yeah. So, and just being fully transparent, that's a place where my team, we dropped the ball because I was talking to you, and well, I mean, we are not perfect by any means, but I'm talking to you, and we're talking about programmatic, and through that discussion, I'm realizing you're not running LSA. Like, why the heck are we doing programmatic for you if we're not running LSA? Right. So, we switched programmatic to LSA. But programmatic is it's a fantastic brand building tool, and what it is, you've seen. Well, I'll give you a great example of it. A friend of mine was over at the house the other night. We're talking about us and he and his wife taking a cruise together. Actually, Chris Cotton, and we're going to take a cruise together. We're going to go to Alaska in summer of 27. So I'm sitting there looking up some cruises, and there, we've got American Idol on YouTube television, and all of a sudden we start seeing commercials for Alaskan cruises.
Yeah.
And they can see that I'm sitting at this IP address, the same IP address that this TV's playing on, and I'm searching for Alaskan cruises. Oh, perfect. Let's drop some advertisements in there.
That's so creepy.
So it is. It's creepy. It usually makes sense. We did have a situation the other day where we could not understand how they started advertising to us, and it was too, like, there's no way that it wasn't
right
doing something there. But programmatic is just a way of putting an ad in front of a very direct type of audience, and it could just be geographically. It might, you might, for an auto repair shop, in most cases, it's going to be something like, oh, let's show this commercial to anyone, from between this age and this age with this household income that lives within 7 mile radius of the shop. And that would be very simple programmatic. But programmatic at its core, there's something called real-time bidding. And what happens is in milliseconds, there's a place for an ad to display, and the machine is looking and saying, okay, this person's eyes, and it doesn't know, like, it didn't know that Brian Walker was doing the search, but every person has a user hash, and that user hash is basically everything about that person. And you can't convince me actually that my name and all of that stuff is not in there, but the advertisers, in theory, I know we don't, and I don't think that even big data advertisers have access to that information, but they know that there's a guy, 50, about a 50-year-old guy, upper middle class, likes Jeeps and off-road, involved in the automotive industry, likes to travel, all of these things, and they're saying that this user hash's eyes are on this TV or this computer screen or this phone right now, along with these other people. And this real-time bidding happens where they're bidding on fractions of a penny to say, I will bid the most, show my ad. And then that ad drops into that spot. So that's the kind of technical dumbed down version of what programmatic is. But programmatic is the audio commercials that you hear when you're listening to some podcast. And I'm not talking about like the Shop Marketing Pros advertisement on changing the industry, because I'm paying you directly for that. But I could also go say, I want to run a spot that it might show up on Ed Milet's podcast or Andy Frisella's show or whatever, because they'll drop a space in there and allow programmatic to insert the ads. So you can run ads in hundreds of different podcasts, thousands of different podcasts by doing programmatic. You can put ads on YouTube, Hulu, Peacock, like any of these streaming television services that have ad spots. And you're going to show up to the people who are not paying for the premium version. That, like, I pay for YouTube Premium so that I don't have to see all of the commercials. Well, the people who are not paying for it, they're going to be the ones, which that's the majority. They're going to be the ones who are seeing your ads.
I just want to point out that I had a really awkward situation with that. Did I tell you about that? So we have multiple properties here on site, right? And I was standing in the family business one morning, and this young lady who was renting one of those apartments and then also worked for the family business came in, and she said, I was in the shower this morning and I got out and I was standing there naked and I heard your voice in my apartment. And I said, huh? She said, yeah. She said, I was really freaked out and I started running through my house trying to figure out where you were. I'm like, oh gosh, I hope she put clothes on first, you know? And she's like, then I turned around and you were on my TV. And I was like, oh, it's a little weird. Like, I probably would have kept it to myself, but you know, it was effective. I mean, you know, and I think we saw a return from it. It's harder to track that return, I think, from programmatic. And it's, would you say it's more of kind of in the branding scheme of things?
Absolutely, brand building. Yeah, the idea behind programmatic, or it's brand building is top of funnel, would be the words we would use in marketing. And it's about getting your shop's name embedded in somebody's brain. So then when they need an auto repair, they'll go to Google, they'll do a search, your ad shows up, and they're like, oh, I know this shop.
Yeah.
So it's pure brand building.
Yeah, I love it. I think it makes a huge difference. The folks doing our marketing now, I'd spoken to them, and they're doing programmatic, and they said, we're really working hard to get this dialed in to the specific time of year. And so they have somebody that just does their programmatic. And they said, hey, like when the ski slopes are rainy and it's not necessarily as cold as it needs to be for them to ski, and under these conditions, we're going to put tags here. And then during the summer, when folks have been over here at Tweetsy for hours and hours and hours, and they're kind of getting tired, they're looking for something else to do, we're going to drop them in there. Or when Tweetsy's sold out and they can't get into Tweetsy, and they've talked about all of these different ways. And it's unbelievable to see, just from, and I've said this multiple times, this business in the winter months had always been empty, right? Like all winter business. Yeah. Yeah. And so all of a sudden, when we started working with that other company, man, they just were on point, and they had the marketing curtailed for the people that are in town at the right time. And so I think it's, go ahead.
That's, you're talking about a, gosh, what the word is escaping me, the category of business that is.
It's a family entertainment center.
Yeah. So a family entertainment center, which it is prime, because programmatic in that case, when you have people who are searching for Tweetsy and things to do near Blowing Rock and all of that, right, then you can start hitting them with those programmatic ads, and you're getting somebody who, like, that they're in the process of planning out a vacation in the area of your family business.
Exactly. Yeah. And I thought it was so neat, because it's all the things. Working with that company is very much like working with Shop Marketing Pros. And it's the culmination of all the things that you've taught me from sitting in your classes over the years, of like, what part of the funnel are we in? Right. And a lot of shop owners, they don't think about it that way. They it comes back to this thing, like, my knowledge is in fixing cars. Yeah. My knowledge then eventually becomes writing service, and eventually becomes being a business owner, right? And yeah, we get some marketing along the way, but that marketing knowledge is far more vast than what we as a shop owner could even have the time to consume, right? I'll never forget, I went outside to mow my grass one time, and Rick White said, why in the hell are you mowing your grass? And I said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm trying to save money. I don't want to spend the money on it. He said, you're worth $250 an hour in the shop, but you're out here mowing your grass. It's going to cost you $80 to pay somebody to mow your grass. What are you doing? Right? And he's like, it's going to take you 2 hours. And that was when I really started to learn more about focusing on paying the people who know what they're doing and more efficient, so the money is well spent, right? And understanding what my value is, where my value's at. And I think that so many shop owners miss that because, when we talk about that, you say the funnel, right? And they say, oh, that doesn't apply to me. I'm just a little shop. I'm just this. I'm just that. No, it applies to every business. And you have a funnel whether you want to admit you have a funnel or not. What are you putting into the funnel is what's very important to the success of your business. And if you don't have somebody who knows how to put the right cars and the right people in the funnel, buddy, you'll be in trouble quick. Don't ask me how I know. I've been there.
I mean, you can equate that to the auto repair world. There's a lot of people out there that are great home mechanics. And when it comes time to change their oil or change their brakes or whatever, they are perfectly capable of doing that. Just like there are some shop owners out there that they are perfectly capable of doing some simple marketing.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to things like the oil change or the brakes, if that home mechanic does it versus your top technician in your shop, which one are you going to have more faith in the job that was done?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. And buddy, let me tell you, you get what you pay
peace
for.
of mind alone is worth it.
100%. I don't know if you know this, but there was a gentleman going around all the Facebook groups, and he was telling everybody he would do their marketing. Now, he was thousands less than everybody else, right? And this guy just had a name. He was in all the groups. He had been kind of like, oh, I'm a shop owner. And then all of a sudden he went to, I'm a marketing company. And the number of people that this guy took advantage of and ripped off. I mean, it got to the point that people were posting about him in every single group, like, hey, don't use this guy. This guy took my money. He did this. He did that. You get what you pay for when it comes to marketing. And so, people ask me all the time, like, hey, I know there's all of these marketing companies. Why is Shop Marketing Pros always at the top of the list? Why does everybody? I mean, it's just like, hey, that's who you want to use. And it's organic. It's not a paid deal where people are being paid to say, use this company. It's because they are the best, right? And if you want that high quality experience, and many of these shops that I know that use you have used other companies in the past. And it's like, dude, if you really want a quality experience, this is where you need to go, because we've seen what bad looks like, and now we've seen what good looks like. So, I mean, I think you guys do a phenomenal job when it comes to the marketing, and I am so happy that I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Thank you.
And just pay for premium services so you don't get spammed with programmatic ads. Like Spotify Premium. No YouTube or no podcast ads.
I don't know. Like even some of the premium services now have it, right? Yeah, you'll be listening.
Hub tiers. They'll be like $5.99 limited ads, $9.99 less ads, $14.99 no ads. And you're like,
listen, I'm going to tell you something. Travis Troy made a comment on a post earlier today. And I asked him, I was like, hey, will you come on the show? I want to do a podcast on this subject. He said, I'm just going to tell you what I think is happening in the automotive industry. He said, I think the manufacturers are trying to make the vehicles so expensive and so difficult to repair that they will force the U.S. consumer into a subscription model, and they won't balk at it because the vehicles are getting so complex and so expensive. And I'm like, dude, that Jaguar was it in Costa Mesa, California, that told me that it had, like, it's got the cooled seats button, and I pushed it and it pops up and it says,
so ridiculously rejected that though.
I know. I'm just saying, like, they're going to keep edging. It's what Travis says. I think it's an interesting concept, right?
I would have accepted that like 6-7 years ago. I don't know about now. There's been such a big backlash on the you'll never own anything concept.
Yeah.
People want hardware. They want physical copies of stuff. They want, like, hey, I want something I can hold in my hand that I can own for forever.
Yeah.
That I'm not buying a license to, that I have to pay for forever.
Dude, QuickBooks Online had a major backlash. People hate QuickBooks Online.
Do they? I've had QuickBooks Online.
They've changed it so much, and the people who were on QuickBooks Desktop really dislike QuickBooks Online. I mean, it is a thing. I need Brian to make sure that when we get to the point the cars are driving themselves, we get to that next level of automation, and there's an option to drive all the cars to my shop when they're due for maintenance. I'm going to need that option. Okay, go ahead and sign me up, Brian.
That is exactly what it's going to turn into. Is like, do you want this car in your shop? Pay $299 a month, and we'll make sure that this car drives to your shop first. You're like, mother effer. Oh, that is going to be the worst.
Have you ever done the math on the amount that you pay in subscriptions between your
Dude,
business and personal?
Yeah, it's the
it's
same cost as just
unbelievable.
getting cable. Isn't that depressing?
Yeah.
With,
You
with
ever-
software and everything, we paid
Yeah.
$25,000 a month in subscriptions.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
It's insane. I look at my dues and subscriptions in QuickBooks and I'm just like, oh, this is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like in my personal life, I try not to look at it because I don't want to realize that I used to have DirecTV back in the day, back in the day. It was like $200 a month. And the minute that all these like streaming services and stuff started coming out, you drop DirecTV and you're like, oh, I'm just going to pay $9.99 a month for Netflix. But then like Peacock came out and then Paramount came out and YouTube TV and then you started adding all these. And then it got to the point where it got expensive and you're like, well, I'm essentially paying for DirecTV. But for a business, at that point you're just like, it's whatever. It's like, I don't care. Because it's like, what am I supposed to do? Not pay for phone service? Like, I gotta pay for phone service. Like, I gotta pay for my software. I gotta pay for this. I gotta pay for that. It's just mark up your prices. That's all.
But-
Not
but
you,
they're-
Brian. You
they're
keep the prices
training
the
us.
same, but me, I can jack up my price.
They're training us though to
Yeah,
just
I
deal with
guarantee it.
subscriptions. And when you said what Travis commented, it
I
will
don't
not
know. I think
surprise
people
me
are going to be
at
like
all.
so mad if they can't own the car. Like, I mean, leases
Yeah.
are already kind of like that. But if they're paying a license for a car, there'll be a few early adopters that'll like jump on it or whatever. But I think most people will be like, screw that. I want to own the car and have it be mine for forever.
Well, it
Until they
already
realize
exists.
that we really don't own anything because you got to pay them yearly fee to the government to have the house and the car and stuff. And so the government will just come and take it whenever they want.
It already exists to an extent, like in places like New York City, where it's not practical to own a car. There are clubs that you can join, and when you need a car, you have a car. And you're basically just paying a subscription, and you get to pick the car that you want to drive at that time. And some of them are like high-end, high-end custom, hot rod, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that is a good sign of where we probably are headed. I think the American consumer will push back on it. I don't have any doubt that they're going to push back on it. But I think that just like everything else, it's the frog in the pot of boiling water, right? Like it's slowly coming for us little by little, and you're giving it up for these little tiny conveniences that seem so important to you right now.
Yeah.
And I think that we're giving up these freedoms and these opportunities to own and grow and develop ourselves. And one of the things that frustrates me, and you guys know this, but I talk all the time about, financial intelligence when it comes to owning a business, when it comes to your personal life. And I upset a lot of technicians because I'm like, dude, I don't care what you make. You have to live within your means. It doesn't matter how much you earn or don't earn. Great, go get a different job or get multiple jobs or whatever, but you still have to live within your means. If you're not making enough, then you have to spend less or you have to earn more. Those are the only two equations. But I don't think that the current American, I was going to say American consumer, I don't think the current American sees it that way. I just don't think that we're teaching them to be financially intelligent about it.
We're not.
So, I mean, I think it's probably David's fault. I just want to point out to y'all that Mike Allen jumped in the comments. He said, "I'm bad at business. Can y'all help?" To which I replied, "We tried, but it ended up in a
It's
sticky
the last
trap
5
in the
minutes.
corner."
Nobody
So,
watches the last 5 minutes, so we can say whatever cockamamie thing we want.
you can say whatever cockamamie thing you want anyway. What are you talking about?
I know. I started out with nipples. If you watch the Caleb Hammer YouTube channel, I'm just telling you right now that is the average American consumer. These people are like in their early 20s, and they're like, I don't make enough money. It's like you make $60,000 a year, you spend $65,000 a year on DoorDash.
Yeah.
That's why you're broke. It's DoorDash, and they're like, it's not that much. It's like, yeah, you spend all your money on Labubu's and DoorDash, Labubu's and freaking DoorDash.
It's
why you
man,
can't get
I'm telling
ahead.
you.
And somehow
telling
it's
you.
my fault, the employer. I have to pay you more because you can't control your Labubu purchasing.
The heck is Labuba?
You probably don't ask that. Why did you do that? That was probably a bad idea. You don't ask David questions like that.
Okay, never mind.
You're old enough. You remember the Beanie Babies, Brian?
Yes.
Okay, it's a Beanie Baby for a overgrown child.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's this generation's version of Beanie Babies. Gotta catch
Brian,
them all. Gotta have all the laboo-boos.
Thank you for being here. This was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And
There are
I'm
episodes
excited.
where
right?
people overspend on Pokemon Go. Like they're like, how did you spend $3,000 on Pokemon Go? And I'm not even gonna get into the OF. Thousands of dollars on OF. Thousands of dollars on OF.
Listen,
People are
Jeff Compton
unhinged.
is going to feel like you're personally attacking him at this point.
Who?
Jeff Compton.
No, he doesn't spend. Remember, he drops out. He
Oh,
does.
yeah.
He does. Yeah, that's his hack, by the way. You go in for the 7 days for freezies and then you drop it off. So this poor girl shows her beehole for the entire world to see, and she didn't even get paid because he puts his credit card in and cancels the minute she's about to.
That's
get
like
charged.
free diag, bro.
So that's
I'm going to have to call him up and
it's
talk to
so
him about
much-
free
it's
diag.
So much worse than free diag. It's so much worse than free diag.
As I was saying, Brian, thank you for being here. I can't wait to do another one.
Thank y'all for having me. I will see y'all next week in Kansas City.
Yes, sir. Can't wait. It'll be awesome.
I'll be there.
Right.
You don't have a choice. You live there, bro.